Welcome to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ask Me Anything. Today is October 2nd, 2025. And what a week, right? What a week. My goodness, I have lots to say about this week. Let me say hi to a few people, and then I'll jump into the energy of everything. And then we have a great topic to talk about tonight. What a week. Let's see. Hi, Melissa. I am going to talk about repeating patterns and karmic stories and all of that. So, and you say that you are leaving this Sunday to Orlando. And is there anything you should be cautious about? Because October 6th is your parents' 52nd anniversary. As my father would say, that's a lot of yes, dears. So I am going to talk about that day because October 6th is a full moon, a big full moon that I am going to talk about. So hi, Dee Dee from Chicago. I am doing well. You know, I have a lot of interesting news. I think it's always good to learn things, Dee Dee. That's what I think. Hi, Rick East. And I love this. We live in interesting times. Yes, we do. And greetings from war-ravaged Portland. Not. Oh my God, Rick and Carolyn, I was thinking about you guys because I love Portland and I had such a great experience there. I mean, the farmers market was just fabulous. It was so peaceful, and I thought of you too. You know, in the last week or so. But I love Portland. Okay, hi Leslie. Happy October. Is travel safe this month? You know, I think all things are relative, right? This is quite a month. So we'll talk about that, Leslie. We're going to talk about that. You know, I think if everybody needs to travel, then we need to travel. If you need to go somewhere, go somewhere. I'm actually traveling in October. At least that's planned. So hi, Donna May. Yes, I'm glad to know that you and Rick are safe in Portland. That is good to know. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Angela. Hi, Children's School of Yoga. Namaste. I love saying that. Hi, Sasha. Oh, I'm so glad that you're here with us, Sasha, and Stacy and Jen. Hi, Jen. Hi, Renee. Oh, Leslie, that's very sweet of you. I thank you very much, Leslie. Hi, Regina and Misty. Yes, Misty, we can get a card for your dad. He just lost his wife of 46 years. Oh, and his birthday is 9/25, right at those eclipses. I'm sorry about that, Misty. Yes, honey. When I get to the cards, I have them here, and I will make sure I do that. Hi, Lori Young. I was thinking about you today, Lori. I'm glad to see you. Hi, Marge and Patricia and KM and Sandy Stunner. Hi, honey. Oh my gosh, I should just probably get into everything I need to do. But hi, Nikki, and hi, Laura. And you found 2 gray and white mourning dove feathers at your doorstep. How great is that? I always think finding feathers is like one of the coolest things. Really a sign from above, frankly. Hi, Scott. Hi, Ann Margaret. And Ann Margaret, just for you, our show with James, our new show, it's called You and the Universe, begins. The first day is Tuesday, October 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. 8 p.m. Eastern time. So it's a different day. It's instead of Monday, it's going to be on Tuesday. And it's going to be at a little slightly different time. So it's going to be a great show. We're really excited about it. Really combining the therapy along with the spirituality. It's going to be a great show. And you asked, Ann Margaret, why is it that we had to make a change? Have you ever been with James Van Praagh? James is the king of let's change. I could go down the same damn road, probably be happy. But James cannot. He likes a lot of change. And we also just needed to take a rest and a break. And those things happen. But it'll be a new energy, it'll be a new energy show. And so we're really excited about that. But let's talk about, I have a lot to say about this energy. So I do want to start with this. It's interesting. I had a lot of, let me see, where did I put this here? I wanted to talk about this. I had a lot of people ask me this week that they were losing hope, that they were going down a road of losing hope. And in fact, for the last several days, I'm amazed at the sessions that I'm having, and I'm amazed at the people that I know very well that are calling me and telling me that they're just losing hope with everything that goes on in the world. And along those lines, I'm always out there looking for energy signs. I'm always looking for, I don't know, just different kind of nods from the universe, if you will. So on Sunday, first of all, the week before, I picked all my grapes and I made grape juice, and it was just, I love that. I love the whole idea of picking grapes. It's just, I just love it. Puts you in a zen place. And then I was picking apples because we have an apple tree. I live on a farm for people that are just watching me now from Beverly Hills, but I live on a farm now. And was picking apples. And as I was picking apples, I saw this stunning blue butterfly. I had not seen a blue butterfly here in where I live. I saw one once a couple of years ago in Michigan at my brother's house in Michigan. I couldn't believe it. But to see it, and it just stopped. I literally started like talking to this butterfly because I was so impressed and amazed and blown away that this color was spectacular. This blue was, oh my God, it was just like lit up. It was just so beautiful. So I was really taken with that. And it was, it just kind of slows down the way you think. And it really brought in a lot of hope. And then another thing I did. So one of the things, if you feel like you're losing hope, if you're feeling like that, to get your energy back up, go out in nature. If you can, go out. Even if you're just going for a walk, just go out in nature and observe some things. You might observe a feather. You may observe a butterfly. You could have all kinds of experiences. So that's one thing. Another thing that I did that was really interesting to me is I actually went to Chicago for Don's family. They had like a family reunion, but it was more of it was a birthday party, but it was also more of a memorial they had two family members that had passed. And Don's niece, Mary, who's just wonderful, she went into the basement and found all of these letters that Don's brother had written. Don's brother had passed away in 1973, so years and years and years ago. But he had written these letters, and Mary, his niece, put together a book of these letters. And so along the lines of looking at that butterfly, I was able to sit down and just read every word of these letters. And it was so soothing. They were written in 1957, these letters were written, 1957. So the year I was born. It's actually right before I was born. So it was fascinating. But just reading the old letters and he was such a brilliant man and such a brilliant writer. Gosh, I was just blown away by all of that. But what it did is it was very soothing. So if you have any old letters from family or from anybody that has that you loved at any point, or even old relatives, maybe kind of dig them up because it's a real special thing to do. It's a very special thing to do. So I'll tell you, that's one way to kind of change your energy. It just did it. I thought that was one of the most amazing things. And another thing I'm doing is I'm reading a great book, and I love this book. It's called Out of the Darkness by Paul Kellee. And Paul, I love the way you write. I love your story. And Paul has a story. We talk about bringing a lot of faith. It's my journey back to the light. I mean, he went through. Had a incredible relationship, and his partner passed away. His husband passed away, and the story goes from there. And everything that he had to learn about himself, and as we all do through. A lot of times through grief and through sadness, what we come through. So Out of the Darkness, you can find it on Amazon. It's a great, really great read. So that also I thought was really good. Sitting down and reading is just a great thing to do if you are able to. But another thing that happened, and I'll tell you this one, and this one just blew me away, and I'm in awe of this one that happened. So let's see, how do I start with this one? I'll start over here. Let's see, how do I start this story? My great grandfather was a cantor. which means he would sing during the services in temple. And he lived in Ukraine. And so this eclipse that we had was about a couple of things. It was about relationships, and it's also about ancestors. And I've been speaking a lot about ancestors during this time. And so I had an interesting experience, and it started with actually on that eclipse, my grandfather, so not my great grandfather, but my grandfather came to me in a dream, and he was just smiling and staring at me and just making sure, just keeping an eye on me. It was the sweetest thing because he was such a sweet guy. Well, here's after that what happened. I woke up this morning. So last night was Yom Kippur, the era of Yom Kippur. Let me explain that for a minute here before I want to talk about that. So Yom Kippur is today actually, but last night was era of Yom Kippur, and Yom Kippur is the Day of Atonement. It's the holiest day in Judaism. It focuses on self-examination, which is really what we're going to be talking about in our talk today. And it's about repentance, and it's about, prayer. And it is all about, seeking forgiveness, making amends, and achieving some sort of a spiritual cleanse for a restart for the year. And it's perfect because it goes with this full moon. See, I think everything goes together, really. I love to look at signs, and I think everything goes together. But what happened is I woke up this morning, and my friend Judy, I thank you so much for this. Out of the blue, Judy early this morning sent me a text with a picture of my brother Theo, my youngest brother Theo, who is a musician, and who, in fact, he had just did a big thing at Madison Square Garden, a sold-out concert at Madison Square Garden. Well, she had gone to the Erev Yom Kippur service last night in downtown LA at the oldest synagogue in LA. Go Judy. And my brother Theo was singing there. He was singing at the Kol Nidre service. We shared the same great grandfather that was a cantor. The odds of Theo being there, I had no idea. None of us had any idea. If Judy hadn't been there, I wouldn't have known, because Theo's a busy guy. He's not going to call me and say, hey, guess where I am? I wish he would. And Theo, if you're listening, I wish you would. However, I didn't know, and Judy was there. So Judy takes a picture of him. I send this picture of Theo on stage at this beautiful temple. I send this to my family group text, which is always fun, family group text. You never know what bag you're going to get on that one. But anyway, I sent the picture there, and family members suddenly started writing forgiveness. Forgiveness was highlighted on that family chain, and it was all from that text, which all would have been a setup, if you will, from ancestors going down, because I know that all ancestors have their eyes on us at this time. And that was proof to me that they were, and keeping an eye on us, because at some point they may want to come back down to earth, to reincarnate here, to have, to come out again here. They may. I remember my grandfather once said to me, maybe 2 years ago, he said that he was preparing to come. And I think it's really important that we move through our situations that we're in and have love and compassion and forgiveness. But if Judy hadn't been there and that picture hadn't been, if you look back like that, Judy, I'm still amazed by that story. And I just can't thank you enough, honey, for being in my life to send me that. I was just blown away by that. So I think everything is possible. And if you think you're going to lose hope, pick yourself back up again, okay? Because this is a long journey that we're on. We wanted to be here. And what I think about this energy right now is that this energy is set. It used to be that, let's say you didn't want to confront something. And we're going to talk about this. when, like, why is this happening to me? We're going to talk about things like that, about karma. But I feel that it used to be, well, if I don't do it in this lifetime, I'll do it in another lifetime, I'll do it in another lifetime. And then next lifetime, he gets another lifetime. And I think the energy is set now with this speeding up intensity to actually force us not to go to that next lifetime to deal with something. It's actually dealing with it now. So if it means dealing with forgiveness or love or compassion for yourself, for others, I think that that's going to be a big thing that's going to be seen on the world stage, in your world stage. For everybody, I think we're going to see that. So let's talk about the astrology for right now, because this is a real interesting time. I've been saying this for some time, but oh, Lord have mercy. Let's see. So starting tomorrow on October 3rd, I'm just going to go do a couple of things here, but on October 3rd to the 24th, Mercury transits into Libra. And that's really about, Mercury is about diplomacy. In Libra is about communication with diplomacy. But here's where it gets tricky. Because, October is a tricky month. You know what they say, trick or treat? No, it's that. So at the same time that Mercury goes into Libra tomorrow, in Vedic astrology I'm talking, Mars and Mercury will be conjunct. And when that happens, it's considered a planetary war. So a conjunction is when two planets are close to each other, and these two planets, Mars and Mercury, they're enemies in Vedic astrology. They are they both are vying for dominance, if you will. And so in Vedic lore, they're natural enemies, and it can spark a lot of tension, as if you didn't know already that we're in this tense time, because we are. So Mars is the planet of action and aggression. And Mercury, on the other hand, governs the way we think, how, our logic, our intellect, our communications. And in Libra, they're both in Libra, Vedic astrology, and Libra, ruled by Venus, which is the sign of marriage and relationships, but also diplomacy. And so when you have these two in a conjunction, in this planetary war, if you will, it can cause a lot of tension in the world, on the world stage, but also in relationships. And so watch your relationship dynamics, because this is a time, particularly in partnerships, whether they're work partnerships, love relationships, really watch how you speak to one another. Really watch that. I think it's really important. And I think everybody during this time period a lot of people will be looking at the relationships because of the eclipse that we had. I've heard of the strangest sudden endings of relationships in the last 48 hours even. I mean, are just things that I would have not imagined before. So I think that has a lot to do with these energies that are coming in right now. And that eclipse certainly didn't help anything. So, and again, as I mentioned before, and I'll talk about this a little later, but we also have a Rahu-Saturn conjunction, and that's October 4th to the end of November. I mean, again, I'd say all of October, none of it's easy. We do have an extraordinary thing that will happen where Jupiter will go into Cancer for a few weeks. But right now, the other thing that I do want to discuss is we have a full moon in Pisces on October 6th. And that's in the nakshatra called Revati, or Revati. And because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac and Revati is the last nakshatra of the zodiac, it brings endings and completions. So the other thing is this full moon occurs at a Gandanta point. And the Gandanta point is between water and air and fire. And that's Pisces and Aries. And that zone is very potent. So I feel that this full moon, yes, go ahead, put your crystals out. I'd be in, good time to meditate, great time to take a bath, or be around water even if you could. Put your crystals out for cleansing if that's what you'd like to do. It's a really powerful healing time of letting go. And it goes with the idea that I was talking about with forgiveness and compassion and letting it go. Because I really believe that this lifetime is going to offer us circumstances for healing and growth. For healing and growth. That is going to be what I think happens right now. So, okay, so I want to talk about the topic that we have tonight, which is really, why does this keep happening to me? You know, what does that even mean? We're going to talk about how repeating patterns, with karma happen, and why does this even happen? So it's what a time period, right? What a time period. So the questions will be like, why do I keep attracting the same relationship? What's going on here? What does this happen? So let's get into this. But if I start with the premise of why does this keep happening to me, which is really a good question to ask, right? So Michael Beckwith, who's a wonderful spiritual teacher, he describes 4 levels of consciousness. So Michael Beckwith starts with life is happening for you rather than to you. And that's a spiritual teaching. So if we look at life is happening for us so we can learn and grow, as opposed to it's happening to us. Okay, so Michael Beckwith describes 4 levels of consciousness, which I think are really spot on here. And this is really going to help answer a lot of these karmic questions here. So at the lowest level, the first level, the lowest level of the 4 levels of consciousness is to identify as a victim. Now, we will all have had situations like that. But to continue down that road of victim is the lowest form of consciousness. And the whole idea on earth is to raise your consciousness. That's the whole idea here. Okay, and this is a powerful time to raise your consciousness. Make a shift here. So the second level focuses on of consciousness is what have we achieved, and what have we manifested, and everybody gets to that. I became a this, or I became a that, or I do this, or I did that, or I own this, or I own that, whatever it is. That's again a lower level of consciousness, but it's an important one because you're taking these steps here. Okay, the third level of consciousness is called acceptance. It's where we accept where we are. We accept it. And during this acceptance period, and I'm going to add this piece to that, when you get to an acceptance piece, that's where it's important to retrain your nervous system. Literally, because our nervous system goes from identity in the pain body of a victim. And then we go on to, well, I achieved this and I did this and I manifested this, and you're still in that running time. And when you get to a place of kind of a stopping point, it's like this acceptance point of, oh, this is where I am. Okay, and you get to that acceptance point. That is a great time to retrain your nervous system. All right, how does somebody do that? Maybe see a somatic therapist. Really become conscious of what you're feeling in your body, what's going on. You really start to shift your consciousness. And you're the only one that can shift your consciousness. Nobody can do it for you. We can give you all the tools, but you're the one that will have to take the action to actually change your consciousness. And the fourth and the highest level for consciousness is when you experience that life is happening for you. Life is happening not against you or to you. It's happening for you, for your best good of karma, for you to grow and learn. And that can be challenged. Might feel very challenged when you get adversity. But here's another thing with that. So let's say you are challenged because life is happening for you, but shit's still happening. It's still coming up. It's still coming up. Yeah. Because we're on earth. That is the plan, right? That's the plan. But I'm going to give you another teaching here because I love this teaching. This is a Buddhist teaching. I'm not a Buddhist, but I love this one totally. And it's called the teaching of the second arrow. And maybe many of you know this. I did not know this. But I love this. And it's the first arrow is the unavoidable painful event. So in life, there's going to be those situations. It just is. We're going to have some unavoidable event. Boom. Okay. And so, well, that's the first arrow, but there's an optional second arrow. Okay. And that is when we inflict on ourselves the suffering caused by maybe our negative reaction to it, our mental story of what we're telling each other or ourselves, or maybe even a resistance to the first arrow. And so to avoid this added suffering, this kind of teaching encourages acknowledging the first pain, but without any judgment to it. Oh, this happened. Okay. All right. Practicing mindfulness so your reactions are different. So what you're doing is we will all get that first arrow. It's just as life. Can it be wildly uncomfortable? Of course, you betcha, as they say in Wisconsin. But it's that second one that we really need to go down that road of negativity. No, we actually do not need to go down that road. So it's that's like a jumping off point. Really? Yeah. Of repeating patterns. And so why do we repeat these patterns karmically? Why do we do that? Patterns will be repeated until we learn something along the line here. And so a repeated pattern is also another term would be a karmic lesson. If, let's say you pick, no judgment here, trust me. Let's say you pick a bad relationship. Okay. All right. And then you get out of that bad relationship. And then you go back into another bad relationship. And I remember so well leaving one relationship that was really horrific. And I went to see a therapist and I said to her, God, will I ever do this again? And she said, wrong answer. She said, no, you'll never do this again. And it was the wrong answer. The answer should have been, I don't know. I don't know because I don't know. You haven't slowed down enough to even think of anything through. I just wanted to go from, the next one that I thought would make me feel better. And it just doesn't work that way. So I had to learn on my own everything pretty much. I had a lot of great teachers. And in fact, for her to even say, no, you won't do that mistake again. That was actually a good lesson because she was wrong. Like, I don't care who, know thyself. That one was a wrong answer, but I still love her. She's a great therapist. Just she's missed the mark on that one. Anyway, so we will continue to repeat patterns, and what it will look maybe a little different. Maybe it will be a reoccurring challenge or a toxic relationship, and they often will act as a mirror for us, and they also will reflect unresolved issues and fears and subconscious beliefs. I remember being in a relationship years ago with somebody who I actually thought we thought the same way. I was very surprised several months later when I found out he had a completely different belief system. It can be a shocker. So doing a lot of work on yourself is everything. Know thyself, because ultimately we have to heal from these old pains and these old contracts, if you will, these old psychic karmic contracts that come in. Because before we are born, we choose, what do we want to work on? I want to work on being able to speak my truth and being authentic. Okay. Is that what you want to work on? Yes, that's it. All right, great. Here we go. And then from there, what can happen is you get immediately some karmic situation that comes in and you're not allowed to speak, and you don't speak, and you never learn to speak up. But in this lifetime, I'm telling you, this is a lifetime that it will accelerate your growth if you want to. You have to really want to grow here. Even kicking or screaming, I think a lot of people are going to grow, actually. And it's so you want to look at repeated patterns in your life. You want to look at the people in your life. You want to look at your own pain in your life. Are you picking up your mother's pain? Are you picking up your father's pain? Are you angry for whatever it is? I mean, do you have resentment? You really want to look at unhealed wounds here because that's unresolved energy. So you really want to look at that. And karmic cycles, actually, again, they just reflect what we need to look at. You also want to look at your own emotional triggers. Does this set you off? Does that set you off? Look at it. As Dr. Shirley always says, be curious, and she's right. Be curious about it. Why is it that set me off? What was it what is it? Because there's always going to be something about that. And so, again, karmic lessons really are such great opportunities for growth. And it also, what they're great for is this integration of wisdom. Because once you get this karmic release of an old wound or an old pattern, I have to tell you something. That is this integration point of wisdom. And that's what we need on the planet right now, is for souls to get to their wisdom point. And that's where the reason you want to look at everything. Because when you go back to the other side, you want to do your life review and say, well, I was stuck there, was screwed there, I did this there, I did that there, and then I got it. Yay! And they all clap for us. So they're all like so happy when we get to where we want to be or where we need to be. They love it. And again, spirit guides don't push us. They just understand, oh, that's where they are. Oh, I wonder why they're choosing suffering again. Well, but this lifetime is different. This one has an energy that is so powerful to make changes that everybody needs to be working on that if they can. Because it also has a lot to do with your self-worth. You want to look at your self-worth. You want to look at, again, if I had Shirley here, we'd be talking about attachment theory, because how did you attach? I could go into this in great depth. But I'll tell you what you guys should do if you are up for it. And I'll just say this, on November 15th, Dr. Shirley and Carrie Gonia and I are teaching a class of Roots of Healing again. And we're going to be looking at chaos within, chaos without the family system and in the family system. And so join us on November 15th. I think it's going to be an extraordinary class to take for, if you are available. It's like a 4-hour class. And we go deep into this. We go deep into the soul of, why you incarnated. And we surely will talk about, I'm going to talk about karmic imprints and soul contracts. And Carrie's going to be leading a family constellation, which is extraordinary, which involves releasing old family patterns. And Dr. Shirley is going to be talking really about somatic healing. And the three of us work beautifully together. So if you can join us on November 15th, I think you will. It's worth it. It's really going to be extraordinary. And don't forget, I have the All Souls Retreat. I'm going to be there November 7th to 9th. I'm really excited to work with Jen Weigel and Amy O'Keefe, and I'm going to be a speaker there. A lot of good speakers. So it'll be so fun. I think I'm talking about empaths, which is going to be fun. And then James and I launch our show October 15th. You and the Universe, conversations that heal, inspire, and awaken. And we're saying, think of it as spirituality meeting spirit, which is what we do. This is going to be a little slightly different here. So we're really, really excited. And my last thing is, I have an unusual crystal class on October 11th. It's a Saturday on Zoom at 11 a.m. Central Time for a couple of hours. And it's going to be so fun with Shauna McDonald and myself. And we're going to be talking about the hidden wisdom. I'm all about the hidden wisdom of unusual crystals. I have a crystal that I'm going to talk about, morganite, which is so cool. And we're going to be talking about just all kinds of. Shauna owns the Crystal Shrine in Burbank, and she knows everything about all crystals. So anyway, I think I'm going to answer a lot of questions today because I know. And Margaret, what is going on in the stars that the government shut down? It's because nobody will be able to communicate. And that's really what I was saying, underlying what I was talking about with Mars and Mercury. There will be no communication. It will be, can you imagine poor Libra. Libra's like, but I like peace. I like balance. Yeah, it's like, nope, two enemies going against each other. So it will probably last a while, guessing a while, more than a month. I mean, these energies of October, they're pretty fierce. They are pretty fierce. And I don't see these. Oh, before I forget too, I have a few spaces left of the Power of 10. I forgot about that on October 18th, and that is a really great group. It's I do it once a month, and I bring people together. I take 10 people, and everybody gets 10 minutes with me to go over whatever it is they want to discuss. And I will tell you what, these energies bring about amazing groups. So I think I have a few spaces left for the Power of 10 if you want to join us. I think you would I think you would love it. Oh, Charmaine says, thank you for helping my daughter. You're so welcome, Charmaine. Keep me posted. I loved your daughter. I thought she was great. I really enjoyed talking to her very much. So Sherry Traxinger says, Kellee, I've been having auricular, I don't know what that is, acupuncture with Reiki the last 2 Thursdays. It's amazing. Ooh, any way that you can get healing, I think it's a great thing here. I do. I think it's great, and I'm thrilled that you're doing it. I love it to hear about all of these new kinds of healing. I do. I think it's so fun. So, and I have a lot of questions to answer here, and let me get my questions here to answer. Oops, no, that's not it. I have so many different things on my plate here. Oh, let's see. No, I guess that is it. Okay, here we go. Nope, that was not it. Don's like, what is going on right here? Oh, I put it in the wrong place. Okay, here we go. I've got a lot of questions, and here they are. So this first one is from Carolyn East. So Carolyn, she says, I had an interesting experience last night while I was going to bed. Now, I'm curious if anybody else has had this experience. She said it was midnight. She said, I laid down, I pulled the covers over me, and I glanced up to see, as vividly as anything in broad daylight would be, a black entity or an energy. She said, I'm not sure what it was. And it was not in solid form, but it was hovering over her. She said, I was surprised, as I've not had that experience before, but not at all frightened, because we did talk about these things on a couple of Fridays ago at our 5 o'clock somewhere group, which, by the way, is tomorrow. If anybody wants to join us, go to my website. I have an app there, join us, and we talk about all kinds of things that come up. But one of the things that we did discuss were different types of energies that come out. And so she said, thanks to you ladies, we had talked about, she said she had shut down her chakras. She had gone to sleep. She said, you may not be here if you're not here for my highest good. And she said, I literally watched it as it dissipated and disappeared. And she said, I felt safe and I fell asleep and I slept peacefully all night. And she said, I had been feeling off that day and grouchy early in the evening. And she said, I assume whatever that energy was, maybe it was because I was grouchy. And she said, how can I tell the difference between energy that I might have picked up on the course of the day, or if it was an entity that it was attached to it? So it really, in this case, it does sound like some oddball energy. Now, here's the thing. When people are developing and they're getting into their spiritual energy, they're feeling their spiritual energy, there's a certain light that goes on. It's literally like we all have these light around us. And it's almost like being tested. Oh, you're doing that. Oh, well, here I am. It's almost like being tested. It's the damnedest thing. And so I don't think it's anything negative in that way. In my mind, it's like, maybe you were grouchy. Maybe your vital life force slipped a bit. Maybe you were just down. I don't know, Carolyn, because you're always an upbeat person. But anytime that you start to, even you caught yourself at being grouchy. So that it could have been that the energy thought that there was an opening in this energy, possibly. That's a possibility. Or just a test. And either which way, you did the right thing. I mean, anybody who feels some odd energy around them, this is a odd energy time. That's for damn sure. Go to the light, leave me alone, Call in Jesus. Get out of my way. I'm going to bed. And be very strong about your own energy. Be really strong about it, because that will really help. Because we're all on a path right now. So, but it's a really good question. Good question here. So Laura Crum, hi Laura. She says, can soulmates come into each lifetime with a person to help them with lessons and karmic stories? Yes, always. If a soulmate is in your life, it's to teach you some sort of your reflection of each other. You're going to learn something. So you might have chosen a soul on the other side. Well, you need to learn about love. So you may pick somebody that doesn't know how to love, which would teach you what is not good for you, and what you would need to learn is what is good for you, if that makes any sense. Sometimes I had an actress that I knew really well. I know very well, actually. And she said to me, she calls them cellmates instead of soulmates. And I had to laugh, because that's kind of true on some level. A cellmate or a soulmate is somebody that will come into our life that we have to learn from. Whatever it is that we have to learn, it's all for our growth. So always a soulmate will come in to support us, to could even be to say bring harm. It could be to bring so you learn to stand up on your own. I mean, they can teach some really hard lessons, soulmates, So there you go. I hope that helps. And Renee Went, she says, Kellee, I have 10 relatives and her friends who are currently dealing with health issues, from cancer to heart problems to emotional issues. What's going on? It's overwhelming. Yeah, Renee, it's all I hear about. All I hear about now. And I think it's because everybody's stuff is coming up now. This is the time period for that to happen. And so people will be working on their health, their emotions. This is actually the time period their souls probably said that they would do it. So there you go. I mean, it's just happening. So, and here's another question from Renee Rossiter. Hi, Renee. Now this is very deep, and I'm wondering if this has happened to people before, and I'm sure it has. Oh, in fact, I know it has. She said, I was scammed by someone pretending to be a famous figure, asking me to help them with a charity. Oh gosh, she said, it broke my heart. She said, I've always been guided to have integrity, which that is the truth, when looking into somebody's energy, or to ask them if I may work with them. And I was wondering if it's okay to look into somebody's energy before accepting them into your space. Oh, for sure. I always check out the energy. Always. She said, would this create karma? No, not at all. It's called boundaries. It's called boundaries. So if you look at somebody's energy, you can tell often, are these good people? Are they not good people? I use every lens available to me, Renee. And still, anybody can be scammed. But it goes with that first arrow story that I was talking about. Don't go any further into a second arrow of it. But what I would be thinking of is use this as a lesson to not everybody that comes into our past are going to be good. It's just wherever they are at that moment, And so we use that as a teaching lesson for you. Okay, I know so many people that have been scammed. It's awful. It's horrible, and it's just awful. So yeah, use every tool that you have, Renee, to view it. Absolutely. It does not bring up a karma. It's to help you with boundaries. With that. And I'm so sorry, honey, of all the people in the world. My God, that is just sucks, right? Oh my gosh. Hi, Michelle Kavanaugh. October energy felt a little less intense this week for you. Good, Michelle. I'm happy. Oh, Shelly says, I love your affirmation videos on Instagram. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Michelle and I totally appreciate that. Okay, so I think that's really important. Yeah, Tracy Denning, it's going to be really exciting that James and I are getting back together. I'm very excited. I miss him when I'm not with him. I miss him terribly. Okay, I wanted to get a card from at the very beginning, and at the very beginning here when we started, there was a card I wanted to get from Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, for Misty, I didn't forget. I want to get a card for you from your dad. I'm just gonna shuffle these cards. He lost his wife at 46 years. I'm so sorry. Let's get him a card there for him. Ooh, his wife says, "Your mother." I'm assuming I have a new understanding. I have a new understanding. How great is that? So, it's interesting when we cross over, we do have a new understanding. And when she will be around your dad, Misty, she'll be so around him. Pay attention. October, the energy gets closer to the veil. It is some month with that, especially when we get towards the end of the month. Oh my gosh, the veil gets very, very thin. And this is going to be an amazing time. Okay, I had another question from MB Holtz. MB says, Kellee, my coworker and my friends, along with 18 other individuals, recently received a notification of the building that they work in that it's being sold. MB, this happened to me. Happened to me in 2017 after the eclipse. In that period, she said, we have a move out date of 10/31. So you have to be out at the end of the month. We are actively looking for a new space together that is good fit for both of us, as well as our clients. Would love to know if I could provide some guidance. So you're with Shelly, her birthday is 6/10, 7 of diamonds. Put a pin in that. And you are 9/23, which is 8 of clubs. I'm sorry, an ace of clubs is what I meant to say. So here's the thing. Your birthday, MB, was right at that eclipse on the 21st, right? And Shelly brings a whole bunch of spiritual wisdom to the table here. And both of you together are going to be, you're going to find you will have the best place wherever you go. And I think that the energy was set to get you guys all moved, literally set for have you move. Because whenever there's a big move, there's a big change in life. There's a big change. And that change changes our energy. So it might bring in a lot of new clients or not a lot of new energy. So think of it as in the spirit that the eclipse gave you guys a kick in the ass, and you have to go, use this new creative energy. Think of it like that. That's what happened actually to Shirley and to me. We had a building and we had signed an agreement for 10 years, 10-year agreement. And that eclipse came in and boy, did everything change. Somebody bought our building. We had to be out. Bum, bum, bum. It was unreal. But it actually turned out to be, well, for me, it was a good thing. For Shirley, it was not such a good thing. But for me, it was actually a good thing. Anyway, so I hope that helps. Rita Vores, Kellee, she says, Kellee, I don't feel very well. Do you have any advice? Rita, just rest if you can, Rita. This energy is about, if you can, sit and rest. Okay, can bring a lot of healing energy to your system now. Just rest, Rita. You've done a lot of work in the world. A lot, honey. I love you so much. You're such a great soul. Oh my gosh. Just rest. Rest right now. Probably be good for you, and pay attention to your dreams. Oh, and Margaret, I want you to read Paul's book. It's so good. Again, if you haven't read, this is a new book that's out of the Darkness by Paul Calliser. It's on Amazon. It's really good. Especially, I think it's a really good time. It's a good time to, Melissa says, what happened to Renee? Renee is fine. I'm just working with somebody else now. We have a new producer now, but everything is fine. So Miranda says, Kellee, I can relate to the blue butterfly, although this orange one just popped up. How funny is that? And blue butterflies bring such deep spirituality. I couldn't get over it. I was just so pleased. Carla says, Kellee, such a great story about the ancestors and family and forgiveness. Right, Carla? I mean, I know it's a long way around the barn, but that was a wild story. Oh, my God. She says, I've been working with similar things, especially around, and I won't be able to pronounce this, Ho'oponopono. I never say that word right, but it has a lot to do with forgiveness. She said, goosebump moments listening to you talk about that experience with your grandparents. Thank you, Carla. They're all around us, particularly now. I mean, my goodness gracious, this is such a time. Jen says, can I just hide in my house until November? You betcha. You can, but I think, Jen, you're going to be busy. Yeah. Okay. Julie says, you have no idea what you just said with this. Julie Musterman says, talk about conjunction function. So my godfather wrote that song. That's true. True story here. Bobby Duro, conjunction function. What's your function? Um, Bobby did all of those great Schoolhouse Rock songs. And in fact, he passed away. I had 4 people that I loved dearly on earth that passed away when my mother passed away. And Bobby passed away 2 weeks after my mother. He had been our family godfather. So conjunction function, that's a nod out to him. So thank you, honey, for saying that. Oh, Patty Campbell, you had your surgery on September 24th, 2 minor hiccups. And so I'm struggling some. I'm trusting all will be well. It will be well, Patty. It will be. It will be. Congratulations. Yeah, conjunction dysfunction in, Margaret. That's the truth. Patty says, I know repeating patterns quite well. And so once you see the repeating pattern, put a stop to it. Choose a different road. Definitely. Anna Ivy says, please, do you see progress in the relationship with someone I know now? Do you see progress with this, Anne? Do you see progress? Because you're the only one that can actually answer that. This is a time to go inward and really ask yourself the honest question, okay? Because that would help you a lot. So Bridget says, Kelly, I'm seeing a somatic therapist to help. I'm so glad you are. She says, I've had several nerve issues from PTSD, so I really resonate with a lot of this. I bet, Bridget. I'll tell you what, you guys, too. You know, when we talk about resetting yourself, there are a lot of ways to do that. And let's say you were always curious about, I don't know, past life. Did anything go on in a past life that would be a repeating pattern here? I'll tell you, there is a wonderful therapist out there. I know 2 of them. And one of them has her website up. And her name is Elizabeth Scott. And her website is elizabethscottllc.com. She does QHHT along with therapy, which is really extraordinary. And I also have somebody, and she's in the East Coast, but she does Zoom everywhere. She's really, 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 really good. And I also have somebody who's also really, really good in the San Diego area. You'd have to write to me about that if you. I think she does some in person, and I also think that Elizabeth Scott does some in person too. So anyway, that's something to look at because I think it would. It's another way to go. We're going to have all kinds of ways to learn about ourselves, right? Hi, Elizabeth Preston. How are you, honey? So Lisa, your birthday is Saturday. The 4th. Yes, let's get you a card. Let's get you an angel number card. How about that? I love these. I haven't used these for a while. And my daughter's birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday, Holiday. I love you so much, honey. Happy birthday. And so, let's see. Here we go. And tomorrow is your birthday. You are a 3 of diamonds. I'm sorry, you are a 6 of diamonds. What is my problem? 6 of diamonds. And if you are tomorrow, October 4th, you are a 5 of diamonds. So here we go. Ooh, 2020 bonds. Ooh, I bet you'll be looking at bonds. You know, the bonds that we have between each other. I bet you that's a big one here. 2020. Ooh, interesting card, right? 2020. That brings up all kinds of memories. Okay, Lori Letterby. Hi, Lori. She says, I have been in EMDR therapy. It has helped my body to relax. That's the key. And be more comfortable. It is interesting that my brain decides when we can do the tapping and when I can't. So interesting. Oh, Lori, you'll learn so much about that. So Patty says, for some of us, repeating the patterns to learn the lesson does take what seemed a lifetime. Yes, Patty, that's true. That is true. It doesn't have to, but it actually could. Now, here's the thing is, get it in this lifetime. If you don't, that's okay. You can carry it into another lifetime, or frankly, probably another galaxy. But there's some other things that you need to be learning. And if you can get whatever it is that lesson is, get it now. The energy is set. It's like almost pushing everybody to get it now. So I think that would be really important here. Melissa says, can spiritual fulfillment be a part of of the karmic patterns. Oh, absolutely. Trying to get your spiritual fulfillment and understanding yourself spiritually. You betcha. Yes. Julie says, Kelly, what do you do if you realize you've been taking on other pains? So you look at the pain body, you look at yourself, and you stop it. If you are looking at, if you will realize, if you have the realization, Julie, that you are taking on everybody else's stuff, first of all, bravo, great call on that if you're doing that. And then start pulling yourself back from that. So you don't have to go in to what? Stop their pain and suffering? It doesn't really work that way. They actually have to start doing the work themselves. And so what happens is it would drain you to death. It would drain anybody. I couldn't do this work if I was picking up everybody's stuff. Oh, please. And the stories I hear, you would not believe them. I walk out of my office, I shake my head, I say, well, I'll be darned. It's a constant, but I don't get on the rail. I don't get on the roller coaster. So it's a very important, Julie, not to get on the roller coaster with other people's pains and suffering. And that because they are still in a different state of consciousness where your consciousness is shifting, which is what it's supposed to do. So if I see somebody in the pain body, I go, I'll be darned. And I kind of observe it. And by the way, I was very sad yesterday to learn about Jane Goodall. And you're probably thinking, where did that come from? I tell people to become Jane Goodall of humanity. Like, I wonder what that's about. As opposed to picking up the stuff. I was really sad when she died. She was really extraordinary, an extraordinary soul, just extraordinary. So let's see. Jen Garney says, Kelly, what's been helping me with the pain of losing my husband? Each day at lunch, I do a 20-minute energy cleanse meditation that helps me feel more at peace. Oh, honey, that's so great. Let's get you a card. Life is a series of choices. Choose love. I think your husband would choose you over and over and over again. Always choose love. And when you're in grief, one of the therapeutic techniques about that, I remember my mother used to do this when people had a lot of loss and grief. She would say, all right, every day at say 2 o'clock, from 2 o'clock to 2:30, you're going to be going into the grief. And you sob and you cry and you do this. And literally about 2:30, or whatever time it was, and go on with your day then. I mean, it was kind of a wild technique, but on some people it really helped. It's a wild technique. Yes, Sandy, you're going to be at the Power of 10. I'm so excited to see you. Melanie KR, struggling with grief and several significant losses in a year. Hard to feel hope, especially with the state of the world. Let me get you a card here, honey. Melanie KR. Ooh, 66. Revisit. I wonder what it is that you need to revisit. Maybe about revisit of taking care of yourself, because I'm sorry you've had so much loss and grief. It's an extraordinary time. Extraordinary. And it is hard to feel hope. But go inward. Know your loved ones are around you. Look for things, as I was talking about earlier. I don't care if it's a damn butterfly. I don't care what it is. Go out and start looking at things. It's so fun. My grandson, I went to the last time I was in Texas, took him to the zoo, and we bought stuffed animals. I look at that stuffed animal every day and I think of them, and it just makes me happy. I mean, little things that just, lift my spirits. I think that's important. Leslie says, can I have a card? Let me get you a card from the angels. Here we go. Ooh, 303. Forgive. Interesting. Forgive. Kind of be a theme right now, right? It's going to be a theme, I think. Yes, Morganite, Lori Young. I found a piece digging. I went digging at a place where you actually go to get crystals. And I found a big piece of Morganite. And she said, that's what I was given as a healing gift from a shamanic journey. How cool is that? We'll take our class, because we're going to be talking about unusual kind of crystals, which is going to be really, really fun. And I'm really excited about that. So everybody, let's see. Oh, Laura says, someone once told me that it's a shadow self if I saw a black outline or something. Ooh, I think you're probably right. You're probably onto something, Laura. Oh, Carolyn, if you're listening to that is interesting, because you had also said you were in a grouchy mood. a black outline representing a shadow self. And we all have to work on our shadows, our shadow sides. Interesting. I mean, there's so many ways to view things, right? So listen, everybody have a great week. Get your energy up, get your energy back up. If you want to have a session with me, I have sessions open in October. It's quite a month. Join us for tomorrow for 5 o'clock somewhere. You have to sign up for that. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. And have a wonderful, peaceful weekend. Okay, do something peaceful for yourself and report back to me next week with what you did, because I'll have new ideas of how to create peace in the middle of friggin' chaos. All right, take care, my friends. See you next week.
You've been listening to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.